Max Verstappen's future in Formula One has suddenly become uncertain, with whispers growing louder that he might even consider stepping away from the sport for a season. The atmosphere around Red Bull is clouded with doubt, especially given the struggles with the RB21's development and tempting offers coming in from rival teams like Mercedes and Aston Martin. Could Verstappen really walk away for a year? And if he does, how would that impact the legacy he's built as a four-time world champion? Right now, Verstappen is at the center of the biggest mystery in Formula One. Publicly, Verstappen has reiterated his commitment to seeing out his Red Bull contract. But with the RB21 falling behind expectations and the first major upgrade package only scheduled to arrive at Imola, it's fair to wonder if that loyalty will last. Even if Red Bull makes gains, it's unclear if it'll be enough to challenge the resurgent McLarens at the front. The idea of Max leaving Red Bull might have sounded crazy a year ago, but today it feels much more realistic. The team is struggling to get the best out of its car, a scenario we haven't seen at Red Bull for years. On top of that, their future beyond 2026 looks shaky, as the partnership with Ford brings uncertainty instead of stability. Verstappen might realize that the smartest move is to take a break, sit out 2026, and watch how the new era of regulations unfolds before committing to his next big step. Imagine yourself in his shoes. You're in a team whose development path seems directionless. The future is a massive unknown. And meanwhile, other teams are locking in their own long-term plans, like Aston Martin, or operating on short-term deals, like Mercedes. Add to that the relentless and ever-expanding Formula One calendar, and the temptation to hit pause grows stronger. Verstappen has openly talked about his passion for racing outside of Formula One, and the idea of taking a break to focus on family life, especially with a young child, could be increasingly appealing. However, taking time away isn't without risks. In Formula One, stepping off the carousel even briefly can make it incredibly difficult to jump back on at the top level, no matter how big your name is. Verstappen knows this. Yet one thing is clear. He has no interest in racing uncompetitive cars. His pride and love for winning are too strong, and this is exactly where his contractual exit clauses could become crucial. Wait, hold on. Did you know that 99% of you watching right now aren't subscribed? If you enjoy my content and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. It takes just a second, but it means the world to me and helps keep this channel going. Join the family and let's grow together. Now back to the story. Fresh reports suggest that if Max Verstappen finds himself outside the top two in the Drivers' Championship standings, either at the end of the season or even by the time the summer break rolls around, he could trigger a clause in his contract allowing him to explore new opportunities elsewhere. However, it's important to note that the most attractive destinations, Mercedes and Aston Martin, seem increasingly committed to their current driver lineups, complicating Verstappen's potential escape routes. If Red Bull's development battles go south, it's reasonable to believe Verstappen's frustrations could extend into the 2026 season too. Adding fuel to the speculation, BBC F1's Andrew Benson revealed that the idea of Verstappen taking a sabbatical in 2026, sitting out a season to see how the new regulations shake up the grid, was floated to him by someone close to Max, without him even asking. Benson admitted he couldn't tell whether it was serious or just an attempt to stir the pot, but the idea is now firmly in the air. Internally, though, Red Bull remains confident that Verstappen won't walk away. Oliver Mintzlaff, a key Red Bull figure, even made a special trip to Saudi Arabia for talks with the team's leadership. When questioned about Verstappen's future, Mintzlaff admitted that while no one is satisfied with the team's current situation, he firmly believes that Max will stay loyal to the journey he started with Red Bull, and that the four-time world champion will still be racing in their colors come 2026. On the one hand, he is signed until at the end of 2028 for a reason, and on the other hand, he has recently positioned himself clearly. Max once told me that he started his career at Red Bull and would like to end it there. As far as I know, nothing has changed in this regard. We've benefited a lot from Max, the best driver in the world. But the truth is that he owes a lot to Red Bull, that is true. Had it not been for the rejuvenation of Red Bull with Honda and Newey, Verstappen might have not had any opportunity to win the championships he did. Although the harsh reality is that Verstappen is Verstappen, and we know how much devotion he puts into the car every time he goes on the track, so we can easily make the argument that he brought the team to where it is right now, so he would definitely have a lot of self-confidence regarding the talks about his future. So even if Wolff wants to continue with the current lineup, there is no doubt that he will be thinking about Verstappen if the four-time world champion becomes an available asset. And when discussing this to a greater extent, Martin Brundle from Sky F1 went on to say, "I think if Max Verstappen sprung into the marketplace, I would be quite worried for George actually, because Kimi is obviously their man for the future, so there's a lot of ifs in there. George is doing a great job for him as team leader. But Toto missed Max once. I don't think that he'll miss him a second time should he get the opportunity. Verstappen himself is not too big of a fan of the new regulations, and he hasn't been shy to speak about that as well. Taking 1 year off would also mean that the popularity of the sport would fall massively, and maybe his figure would affect the likeness of Formula One, to the extent of them actually changing the rules to lure Verstappen back. But according to Horner, there is a lot of noise outside of the team that people are paying too much attention to. And when talking about this, the Brit said, there's been a lot of noise outside of the team. Inside of the team as well, I think Max again reaffirmed his commitment yesterday. We are focused on making the car go faster. That is where our focus is. And Max is part of that. He is a committed member of the team. And the rest is all speculation and hearsay. Sort the car out. It doesn't need to become a discussion point. On the other hand, what we need to discuss are the talks that have been held between Horner and Russell. Many of you wouldn't pay too much attention to it, however. According to the race, both of the sides have agreed that there are certain situations that are out of their reach, so they need to be prepared for any scenario that could happen all of a sudden. Verstappen could very well understand that. His input might not be enough to develop a fast car, regardless of how much they believe in the process. Toto Wolff had a very diplomatic response when it comes to Verstappen's feature with Mercedes, and although the Austrian wants to continue with the current lineup, beyond 2026, he didn't completely throw away the opportunity to sign Verstappen if it was to be presented in front of him. Furthermore, he went on to say, "We didn't have any conversations with Russell. At the moment where it is with George and Kimi, there is no doubt to question that setup for the future. As it goes, we will pick those talks up once we're in the European season. There is no stress. Russell is performing to the highest levels as we have hoped and expected. He is delivering. There is no doubt about that. There is not more you could demand from that. We have this summer window. We have no reason to challenge or question anything, as it is now. This is why Verstappen is the key factor in the entire saga that holds the entire grid in hand for the 2026 season. Again, a big reason why he might want to take a step back is the resistance that Red Bull has when it comes to their wind tunnel. And although they are working on a new one, we know for a fact that Max is not the type of guy to wait for long-term projects. He said it loud and clear. I'm here to compete and I'm here to win. Now, therefore, it's up to Red Bull to provide him with the proper machinery. And if this is done then, they shouldn't be afraid of the consequences of him leaving the team sooner rather than later with all this in mind. Do you think the Red Bull will lose Verstappen in 2026? And more importantly, where do you think they will be headed once this entire thing settles down? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do, don't forget to subscribe my channel.